Some games go beyond the conventional and become true masterpieces. They are memorable experiences that define genres, impress with their mechanics, and leave unforgettable memories. Whether it's the engaging story, the rich world, or the flawless gameplay, these titles are indispensable. Each one offers something unique, something that elevates the industry standard and becomes practically mandatory. If you haven't played them yet, it's time to fix that. If you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel. Here, I bring you daily content so you don't miss any details from the world of gaming. And if you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd be really happy. The new games in this franchise are incredible and worth every second, but it's impossible to ignore this classic that marked generations. God of War 3 takes fury to the highest level, with no room for redemption or self-control. The journey is driven purely by vengeance, with intense battles and brutality that few games dare to match. Each strike is filled with hate, and every enemy crushed is a step closer to vengeance. The combat is the pinnacle of violence, with devastating attacks and executions that turn each confrontation into a grotesque spectacle. The feeling of power grows with each fight, while colossal enemies fall before relentless fury. The cinematics impress, throwing you right into the action with no pauses to breathe. Everything is exaggerated to the perfect degree, from the epic battles to the grandiose settings. Every environment is a battlefield where fury manifests without restrictions. The visual grandeur still impresses today, with environments that seem straight out of a mythological painting. The details in the animations make every strike even more visceral, creating a brutal and intense immersion. The soundtrack amplifies the feeling of destruction, making each clash even more impactful. The game doesn't ask for subtlety, doesn't demand patience, it simply throws you into an unforgettable, bloody chaos. If the new titles brought emotional depth, this one delivers a true spectacle of fury and carnage. It's time to talk about a game that takes survival to another level. Metro Exodus abandons the cramped tunnels and takes the fight to the surface, but don't be fooled. The danger is still around every corner. The journey is solitary, desperate, and filled with tense moments. Bizarre creatures and hostile groups will do anything to end any hope. Every step outside the train could be your last. You can't just shoot without thinking because resources are limited and every bullet counts. You must act calmly, whether sneaking through the shadows or improvising equipment with what you find. The combat is brutal and heavy, and every shot echoes in the darkness. Nothing is easy, and danger is always lurking. The sense of vulnerability is constant, making every encounter unpredictable. The landscapes are as beautiful as they are deadly, from eerie forests to radioactive deserts. The weather can change out of nowhere, making everything even more unpredictable, and night brings even more tension. Every decision could mean survival or death, with no room for mistakes. It's not just a shooter, it's a true test of endurance. The danger never disappears, and that's what makes this journey so memorable. Time to talk about something that truly impacted the industry. Black Myth Wukong emerged as an ambitious promise and delivered far more than expected. From the first reveal, it grabbed attention with impressive graphics in Unreal Engine 4, detailed animations, and a world full of personality. But rather than disappointing, it proved to be one of the most striking action games of recent times. The combat is where everything really shines, with heavy strikes, precise dodges, and a rhythm that balances technique and aggression. Every movement conveys real impact, making each fight intense and rewarding. Nothing was done halfway, and the feeling of control over the character makes everything even more engaging. Each new area reinforces the absurd quality of the art direction and world design. It has become one of the major names in the genre, accumulating recognition and setting a new standard for action games. The way it combines technical combat, immersive environments, and inspired storytelling makes it a title that won't be forgotten anytime soon. Moving on to the next game on the list, we have a true test of skill and patience. Sekiro does not forgive mistakes and demands a level of precision that few games dare to ask. Every strike counts, every defense must be perfect, and hesitating for even a second can be fatal. The brutality of the combat doesn't just come from the difficulty, but from the way everything feels so real. The impact of the swords, the speed of the duels, and the tension in every confrontation make it something unique. Unlike other games in the genre, there is no escaping the fight or relying on tricks to make it easier. The only way to win is to completely master the combat system, understanding the rhythm of the enemies and returning each attack at the right moment. The perfect counterattack is the heart of the mechanics, turning each battle into a deadly dance. The feeling of victory after defeating a tough enemy is indescribable. Everything depends on technique, not numbers. The world around reinforces this brutality with settings that blend beauty and decay. Each location carries a dense atmosphere, where the story is revealed in the details scattered throughout the environment. There are no direct explanations, just clues that connect the pieces of an engaging plot. The map design creates interconnected paths, full of hidden secrets and unexpected challenges. Now, it's time to talk about a true spectacle. Uncharted 4 elevates the concept of cinematic adventure to a new level. Every scene feels like it's from a movie, with impeccably choreographed action sequences. Every moment is crafted to maintain the pace and deliver unforgettable moments. The characters are one of the standout features, with natural dialogues and interactions that make everything feel alive. The relationships are developed in a rare way in games, giving weight to every decision. The balance between action, exploration, and narrative is perfect without excess. Puzzles appear at the right moments, challenging without frustrating. Everything was adjusted to keep the gameplay engaging from start to finish. The settings are stunning, from lost ruins to paradisiacal islands, always with an absurd level of detail. The variety of environments keeps the journey interesting, with no monotonous moments. The combat blends fluidity and impact, whether in intense gunfights or hand-to-hand confrontations. Every encounter is dynamic and requires adaptation, making each battle exciting. The game delivers one of the most complete adventures ever made. Now it's time to talk about one of the most impressive RPGs ever made. The Witcher 3 builds a world so rich and detailed that every corner seems to have its own story. War-torn villages, bustling cities, and dark forests create a living and full of personality atmosphere. Walking through these lands always brings surprises, making exploration rewarding. The combat goes far beyond just swords, with countless options to prepare before each battle. Potions increase resistance, oils strengthen attacks against specific enemies, and traps can turn the tide against more dangerous creatures. Adapting to each situation is essential, as the monsters are varied and require different approaches. Each creature has specific weaknesses, preventing repetition and keeping the contracts interesting. No mission feels generic, as the challenges constantly change. And when you're not hunting monsters, there's always something to do, like the famous card game. It became a phenomenon within the universe itself, bringing strategy and fun between missions. Collecting cards and challenging players scattered across the map adds even more depth to the world. Everything fits naturally, never feeling like just an extra. The game perfectly balances narrative, exploration, and combat, creating an unforgettable adventure. Now, at the 7th spot, we have a game that set a new standard for the genre. Elden Ring proves that, even with many studios trying to follow this style, few come close to the mastery of this work. The freedom here is total, allowing you to shape the journey in countless ways. From appearance to weapons, everything can be customized, and every decision affects the story's course. Nothing is linear, and every path you choose leads to unique discoveries. The world is immense, blending stunning landscapes with dark and terrifying places. Every region hides secrets, brutal enemies, and hidden stories that make exploration worthwhile. The bosses are not mere obstacles, but entities filled with lore, with pasts that could fill entire books. Every encounter carries narrative weight, making the battles even more epic. It's not just about difficulty, but about the feeling of standing before something grand. Even after dozens of hours, there's always something new to find, whether it's an unknown location or an unexpected interaction. The choices made throughout the game directly influence the outcome, ensuring that every journey is different. It's a game that you don't just play once, and there's always a reason to come back. Once you step into this world, it's hard to leave. In the 8th spot, we have a game that built a world like no other. Bloodborne doesn't follow conventional patterns, delivering a gothic atmosphere full of mystery and despair. Narrow streets, imposing cathedrals, and dark alleys create a setting where danger lurks around every corner. Everything feels on the verge of collapse, as if something much worse is about to come. Every detail contributes to a constant sense of unease, making exploration as fascinating as it is terrifying. The enemies perfectly reflect this disturbing atmosphere, mixing the grotesque with the unknown. Deformed creatures, unrecognizable beings, and indescribable horrors appear without warning. Nothing is just an ordinary monster. Everything seems to have a purpose in this distorted universe. The story follows this same tone, avoiding the obvious and presenting a fragmented narrative where the truth hides in the details. The more you discover, the more disturbing the journey becomes. The gameplay abandons traditional defense and demands total aggressiveness. Combat is fast, intense, and brutal, punishing hesitation and rewarding boldness. The health recovery system encourages relentless attacks, turning every fight into a desperate confrontation. Weapons with dynamic transformations and precise dodging mechanics make the combat visceral and satisfying. Nothing in Bloodborne is common, and that's what makes it so unforgettable. In the 9th spot, we have a game that redefined the open-world concept. Zelda Breath of the Wild creates a sense of freedom rare in games. Every mountain can be climbed, every path leads to a discovery, and every decision changes how the journey unfolds. There are no forced directions. Everything is built to be explored at your own pace. The world breathes organically, with forests, deserts, lakes, and mountains that aren't just scenery, but living parts of the experience. The weather changes constantly, even affecting how challenges are faced. Mechanics like using electricity during rain or fire spreading through grass turn every situation dynamic. Enemies adapt to the environment, creating battles that never follow a fixed pattern. The challenges scattered throughout the world go beyond combat, bringing smart puzzles in the shrines. The detailed physics allow solving problems in unexpected ways, expanding the possibilities of approach. Nothing in the game limits creativity, making every discovery a genuine reward. Even after hours, there's always something new to experiment. Few games capture the sense of adventure as well as this one. In the 10th spot, we have a game that took realism to an absurd level. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just an open world, it's a living world. Every city, forest, and mountain feels like it exists independently of the player, with NPCs following their routines, working, talking, and reacting to every situation. Animals hunt, flee, and behave as if they truly belong to that environment. Everything connects so naturally that traversing this world never becomes monotonous. The complexity of the systems is impressive, with details ranging from beard growth to changes in character behavior depending on the actions taken. The world reacts organically, creating unexpected situations that make every journey unique. There isn't just one main story, but a myriad of activities that spontaneously emerge. Hunting, fishing, playing cards, robbing trains, or simply horseback riding through breathtaking landscapes are experiences that fit perfectly. The story delivers an emotional weight rarely seen in games, with characters that evolve naturally throughout the plot. Every dialogue, mission, and choice contributes to deep and meaningful development. Nothing feels shallow or predictable. Everything has a real impact. Few games manage to create such a strong connection with the player. In the 11th position on the list, we have a game that achieved the impossible, improving upon an already perfect game. Resident Evil 4 takes everything that made the original unforgettable and elevates it to another level. The visuals were reconstructed with an impressive level of detail, making every location even more immersive and threatening. The lighting creates an oppressive atmosphere, and the environments are denser and filled with secrets. It's not just nostalgia, everything has been refined to feel current without losing its essence. The combat is more intense and dynamic, maintaining the frenetic action of the original while introducing new elements to deepen the experience. The enemies are more aggressive and intelligent, requiring quick reflexes and different strategies. The parry system adds a new layer to defense, allowing you to block attacks at the right moment. The movement is smoother without compromising the tension that defines the franchise. Changes to the narrative make the story even more engaging, with characters that have gained more depth and improved dialogue. Small details were adjusted to modernize the game without altering the plot. The improvements in environment design, progression, and the way terror is presented make this remake a true example of how to revitalize a classic. It proves that some stories never age, they just evolve. In the 12th spot on the list, we have a game that set a new standard for samurai stories. Ghost of Tsushima delivers an emotional narrative where every choice carries weight and consequence. The journey is marked by internal conflict, honor, and sacrifice, creating moments that stick with you. It's not just about battles, but about what it means to be a warrior in times of change. Every scene, every dialogue, everything contributes to an engaging and impactful story. The combat perfectly embodies the idea of precision and lethality, where every strike could be the last. Quick attacks and defenses at the right moment make all the difference, creating intense and visceral duels. The variety of stances adds strategy, making each fight unique and challenging. Nothing here is frantic or exaggerated. Everything was designed to capture the elegance and brutality of a true samurai. Every move conveys the mastery of the sword, bringing an authentic immersion. The setting transforms the island into a visual spectacle, with landscapes that feel like living paintings. Wind-swept flower fields, dense forests, and ancient temples create a unique and unforgettable atmosphere. The art direction values every detail, making exploration as captivating as the combat itself. Everything in the game comes together to create an immersive gameplay experience, where every setting reinforces the grandeur of this journey. In the 13th spot on the list, we have a game that takes hand-to-hand combat to an impressive level. Sifu isn't just a fighting game, it's a true test of reflexes, patience, and precision. Every strike must be calculated, every dodge timed just right. There's no room for error, and every enemy can end the fight in seconds. The combat has an incredible weight, where feeling the impact of each punch and kick is part of the experience, and the brutality comes from the demand for perfection. The major difference is in the aging mechanic, which makes every attempt unique. With each defeat, the character ages, becoming stronger but more vulnerable. Attacks gain more power, but resistance decreases, making strategy crucial. The sense of urgency grows with each new attempt, creating a balance between aggression and caution. It's not just about memorizing patterns, you need to understand how to evolve within this relentless system. Each progression carries the weight of time, and the gameplay becomes a constant learning journey. It's not a game won simply by persistence, but by real skill development. Mastering the combat comes with practice, and every mistake teaches you something new. It's a unique approach that turns every fight into a true duel, where only the most dedicated can make it to the end. In the 14th spot on the list, we have a game that turns exploration into something truly special. Outer Wilds doesn't just present an open world, it creates a universe where every detail matters. The journey isn't about completing missions or finding gear, but about understanding the mysteries hidden between planets, moons, and ancient ruins. Everything is interconnected, and every discovery reveals a new fragment of this fascinating story. There are no direct guides, only clues that need to be interpreted. The time loop mechanic adds a unique level of challenge and progression. Every 22 minutes, everything resets, forcing you to memorize locations, clues, and events that happen at the right time. Some planets change over the cycle, opening previously inaccessible paths and revealing secrets that can only be discovered at the right time. This concept transforms every attempt into a new experience, where small discoveries make all the difference. Every piece found is a step toward uncovering the truth behind this mysterious universe. The challenges aren't just about exploration, but interpreting the information gathered. There are no battles or upgrades, just the pursuit of knowledge. The journal stores clues, but connecting the dots depends on attention and reasoning. It's a game that values curiosity, rewards patience, and turns every little revelation into a memorable moment. In the 15th spot on the list, we have a game that takes roguelikes and shooters to the extreme. Enter the Gungeon not only mixes genres, but does so brilliantly, creating a game where frenetic action and strategy go hand in hand. Each room is a true battlefield, with varied enemies and attack patterns that turn everything into a bullet hell. There's no rest, no moment to breathe, just insane gunfights and precise dodging. The real brilliance lies in the absurd arsenal, which goes far beyond conventional weapons. Precision rifles, missile launchers, and regular pistols share space with lasers that reflect projectiles, weapons that create chain explosions, and even references to classic pop culture. Each new discovery completely changes the approach to combat, adding layers of strategy and surprise. No run is the same, and there's always something new to try. Progression brings roguelike elements without losing the fast-paced rhythm of the shootouts. The floors of the Gungeon are randomly generated, but always maintain a well-designed structure. Unpredictable bosses, secret rooms, and items with unusual effects ensure that every attempt is unique. The difficulty is high, but never unfair, making it clear that survival depends on skill, not luck. It's a game that challenges, entertains, and surprises even after dozens of hours. In the 16th spot on the list, we have a game that transformed the roguelite genre into something entirely new. Hades doesn't just challenge reflexes and strategy, it reinvents the idea of progression. Every escape attempt from the underworld is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become stronger, both mechanically and narratively. Instead of just starting over, each defeat brings new interactions with characters and small changes that make the world feel alive. The combat is agile and precise, with a weapon system that allows for varied playstyles. Swords, spears, shields, and even enchanted fists offer completely different approaches, amplified by the powers of the gods of Olympus. Each blessing received changes how you fight, making each attempt a new experience. The combinations are endless, and the challenges never repeat in the same way. In addition to the impeccable gameplay, the narrative stands out with a charismatic cast and engaging dialogues. Characters from Greek mythology get new interpretations, creating relationships that evolve throughout the escape attempts. Your bond with each of them goes beyond aesthetics, affecting the story and even the gameplay. All of this creates an addictive loop, where failing isn't a setback, but part of the journey. It's the type of game that keeps calling you back, even after dozens of hours. In the 17th spot on the list, we have one of the best remakes in recent years. Mafia Definitive Edition not only modernizes the classic, but enhances every detail to deliver an impeccable cinematic experience. The 1930s city comes alive with busy streets, period cars, and an atmosphere that perfectly captures the spirit of Prohibition. Every corner conveys authenticity, making the world feel alive and immersive. Even without the chaotic freedom of other open-world games, the setting compensates with total immersion. The story remains the main highlight, telling a journey of rise and fall in the world of crime with sharp dialogue and memorable characters. The narrative has been refined with new scenes and impressive performances, making each moment even more impactful. The missions range from thrilling chases, tense stealth, and brutal shootouts. The variety keeps the experience always interesting, with no repetitive or unnecessary tasks. Each stage fits seamlessly into the plot, delivering memorable moments from start to finish. The gameplay has been modernized, bringing more responsive controls and a solid cover system for combat. The gunfights are intense and require precision, while the vehicle handling maintains an authentic touch without compromising fluidity. The improved graphics elevate the game to a new level, with incredibly detailed environments and realistic lighting. It's a remake that respects the original, but updates it to stand out as one of the best in its genre. In the 18th spot, we have a game that turns climbing into something almost meditative. Jusant doesn't focus on frantic action or intense combat, but delivers a journey that involves patience, observation, and precision. The climbing mechanics are realistic and demand planning, making each ascent a small strategic challenge. The path is never obvious, and finding the best route becomes part of the experience. The sense of accomplishment upon reaching new points on the mountain is always rewarding. The visual beauty impresses with landscapes that seem like moving paintings. Each climbing section reveals new scenery, from barren cliffs to mysterious ruins and impressive natural formations. The art direction embraces soft colors and striking lighting, creating a calm and immersive atmosphere. Even without dialogue, the world conveys a sense of mystery and contemplation. The setting is not just a pretty background, but an essential part of the journey. The soundtrack enhances this feeling of tranquility, blending soft sounds and melodies that accompany the climbing rhythm. The game never rushes, allowing time to appreciate the environment and the process of climbing itself. The challenge comes from the complexity of the paths, which require a balance of stamina and strategy. With every new climb, the learning becomes part of the journey, making it one of the most unique and immersive games on the list. Next up, we have a game that is pure nostalgia and celebration. Astro Bot is a true love letter to PlayStation fans, filled with references that span generations. Each level brings homages to platform classics, from the early console days to the most recent hits. Small details, from the sounds to the visuals, make every corner of the game spark memories. Everything was designed to bring a smile to those who grew up playing. The gameplay is incredibly polished, with precise controls that make each jump and interaction a joy. The physics are flawless, and the level design fully explores the studio's creativity. Each new mechanic is introduced naturally, keeping the game fun and surprising. The use of the controller adds even more immersion, taking advantage of the haptic feedback and adaptive triggers to make the experience even more engaging. Nothing is there by accident. Everything contributes to the fun. The visuals are vibrant, with colorful, detailed scenes and charming animations. Each level feels like a small, living world, with varied environments that never let the game fall into repetition. The artistic style blends modernity with a touch of nostalgia, creating the perfect balance. It's a game that not only celebrates PlayStation's history, but also stands out as one of the best and most well-crafted in its genre. The next game redefined the way narratives are told in video games. The Last of Us delivers an emotional story, full of impactful moments and unforgettable characters. Every conversation, every glance, and every decision shape a journey that stays with you. The bonds formed throughout the story make each twist even more intense. It's not just a game about survival, but about humanity, love, and sacrifice. The gameplay strikes a balance between tension and strategy, with brutal combat and clever stealth. Each encounter demands caution, as resources are limited and mistakes can be deadly. The world around you enhances this feeling with abandoned settings that tell stories on their own. Ruins of cities, looted homes, and makeshift camps show a disrupted past. Everything is designed to create complete immersion and make every step unpredictable. The collectibles go beyond simple items, serving as fragments of lost lives. Diaries, notes, and messages reveal stories of people who tried to resist the collapse. Small details build a universe where every corner has something to say. The dense, melancholic setting gives weight to each discovery. It's an unforgettable journey, where every detail contributes to a unique and devastating experience. Let's talk about a game that delivers pure brutality and non-stop action. Space Marine combines the heavy combat of Gears of War with the intensity of Helldivers, creating one of the most frantic shooters ever made. Here, there's no cover or breathing room, just relentless advancement against hordes of enemies. Melee combat seamlessly blends with intense gunfire, ensuring a constant feeling of power and impact. Every blow, every shot, everything has weight and brutality. The gameplay is addictive, with mechanics that encourage an aggressive, relentless playstyle. Dodging and hiding aren't options. The only way to survive is to eliminate everything in your path. Weapons range from heavy machine guns to brutal blades, offering multiple ways to bring destruction. The fast pace keeps the adrenaline high, while enemies keep coming in waves without a break. Every battle becomes a chaotic spectacle of gunfire, explosions, and brutal combat. The world is rich in detail, capturing the dark grandeur of the Warhammer universe. Devastated cities, colossal fortresses, and destroyed battlefields create an epic setting. The art direction perfectly captures the brutal and imposing aesthetic of this universe. The graphics impress, with lighting effects, particles, and animations enhancing the immersion. It's a game that understands the essence of Total War and delivers an explosive experience from start to finish. Let me know which of these games you've had the chance to play. Did any of them catch your eye? And would you add them to your list of upcoming games? We'd love to hear which one grabbed your attention the most. Feel free to share in the comments any perfect game that might have been missing from this list. If you can, please subscribe to the channel to help me grow and never have to wonder what to play again. I'm leaving 2 videos in the card, one I picked for you, and another one that YouTube chose. Just click on either one to watch. Big hugs, have fun, and see you tomorrow.